Will the
Or
video
take it
actually
off
be
is what I
posted,
mean.
or
Like
do
we'll
you
take it
only
off.
do
So like
audio?
if you,
We do video. Yeah, we
we
do
do
video.
both.
Okay, I'll try not to be chewing then.
Yeah, we're streaming
We
on
do both.
Twitch,
Is the truth of the matter. So
but I haven't done too much to promote it yet. So, um, but it's also a good way to just save the video. I found just going on Twitch, and
Yeah.
it records it. So
Is it the same handle as your title?
yeah, dumb comic creators.
yeah. This way, if for some reason if anybody wants to have a question, just directly right away, we'll read it right off there and do it there.
Yeah, it's an awesome way to interact. Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen a couple other shows do it that way. I was submitted my book to Shots with Comics a couple weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Some interaction.
Cool. And then also, what was the last thing I'm going to say? Oh yeah, we will. I will mispronounce your name. It's just kind of a stupid shtick I do. I don't mean to, but I apologize in advance.
Thanks.
Yeah. If you've listened, you've heard it before. It's stupid.
Not on purpose. I just do it every time. Also, one last thing I forgot to
It's very much on purpose.
Thanks very much not on purpose. One last thing before we do. It's okay that
You're
we share
pre-planning it. Sorry.
If we put the comic, one of your comics on here, because like we'll talk.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Just want to make sure. Okay, and then some of their questions you can kind of do like we do pre-planned questions. So obviously, we read your comics. We'll ask you about that. There's always one question which I can already tell you I'm going to ask is what advice do you give to new comic book creators? I always ask that question, but then a lot of part is we're going to kind of go with the flow and follow where you go. So you want to talk about black licorice versus red licorice the entire time? We will not object to that, and we'll go with the flow with that.
I'm very anti-black licorice. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. I mean, I'm not like anti it. I'm just not like if somebody gave me like a bag of like red licorice and a bag of black licorice, so they said choose one, I would take the red licorice. But
I think it's pretty gross as well.
It's not that good. It's really not.
An abomination against God.
I don't know if it's that bad, but
yeah, I don't know if I can actually go that far, but
I don't think the person goes like, "What mistake of creation have I ever created?" I will go serve myself my time in hell along with along with the baby shark do person.
The list goes black licorice, geese. Those were his two mistakes.
Any type of geese or just Canada geese?
Yeah, Canada geese mostly.
Canada
Those
geese
aggressive bastards.
almost done.
Okay, okay. I don't know. I used to when I grew up. I used to go fishing, and I could only fish on like half the side of this lake because the other half there's just Canada geese everywhere. It just wasn't worth it to try to dodge all the landmines as their poop,
Right.
and B just like they're gonna be hissing at me the entire time and be convinced I'm gonna get eaten or bit halfway through.
See, I bet they eat black licorice.
Okay,
so
I didn't make it through. I didn't make it through one of them. Apocalypse Meh.
Okay.
Oh,
but
no worries.
I got through a lot of it, but it was longer than I
Whatever
expected.
you read, I appreciate.
Which is
Yeah,
wonderful because I can't wait to finish it actually. But
I made it through the entire. Not to brag, Keegan, but I made it through the entire thing.
I mean, it's cool if you brag. That's fine.
Yeah. No, I made through the entire thing, and then what was it? Yeah, I made it through the entire thing. I really liked it. Well, I asked this question. I'll wait. I'll save this question for the podcast because, I don't think you're gonna be surprised to hear it. I'll just wait for the podcast. It's not that anticipated, and I'll even say this is the one we talked about before we started recording.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we're up. We're on the Twitch, and I think we're ready to go. Hello, Twitch. We have 2 viewers, which means we might have 1 viewer.
My name tag on.
I think it
I
counts
think one of
me
them's
as
me.
a viewer. I don't. Oh yeah, you're on there. Great. We had 0 viewers. So, but I posted about it on Instagram. Maybe somebody will see it. I don't know.
Hopefully.
Okay. Post it on Twitter.
Oh, cool.
Spread the word.
Thanks.
Yeah. Again, it's really it's like a second place to record, and it's also kind of, since we talk about visual stuff, it's kind of fun to just share the screen and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's awesome.
yeah.
It's a cool way to do it. Does it save your VODs?
My yeah.
Does it save it? Yeah, that's cool too.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have to have you play drums. No.
All right, let's go.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Is it late for you? Is it early for you? Are you
That's
on the,
9.
Are you
Everybody's getting ready. Or 8.
you're
I'm
on the
Central
East Coast.
saying.
Central?
I'm on the-
Okay.
I think the more important question is: are your kids asleep right now, and will your partner kill you by waking them up?
The answer to both is actually no.
Oh,
they're
She'd
not.
probably come down and be like, "What the f are you doing?" I'm performing for Twitch, man. Back off.
This is how I do my art now. This is how I do my comics.
She's used to my dumbness.
Cool. Okay, Eric. I guess we do a little spiel and then we'll introduce you. And that's
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spiel. Shimado.
Shimano. All right. We need a catchphrase.
I've got a catchphrase.
Okay, I'm all ears.
What, are you gonna drink in the middle of our intro?
I was.
What was
trying
that?
That was me realizing I have to do a spit take.
Is that
'cause
like
your
a?
thing was going to be.
Is that a Fresca?
It is LaCroix. Because I'm
LaCroix?
a
Is it LaCroix?
It's LaCroix. I'm French.
I don't drink those.
You should. They're delicious.
I'm sure people love hearing you drink out of a can in the middle of our intro.
It wasn't the middle of the intro. It was
Stop.
anticipation for your catchphrase, which is over 14 by now. And I'm just saying, could have been better.
No. This is episode 31, I think. And
Fine. Then you're 0 for 30.
yeah. Wait, I had one? Which
0
one
for
did you
30.
like?
No, 0 for 30.
This is episode 31. Oh,
Yeah, we didn't have a catchphrase.
it's not a math podcast. I'm sorry. Okay, you want to start?
I started. I said
Are
we
you-
need a catchphrase. I was waiting for you to tell me your catchphrase. And then I took your drink because I expected that to do a spit take.
Oh, okay.
It was
All
going
right.
to be so bad. I was just spit it out and be like, that was horrible.
Okay. All right, fine. So I have a catchphrase. It's really good. Are you ready?
It's the one from last week that you said was so good?
No. I decided that one was bad.
Okay. It probably was.
Listen, thinking back on it, I was a little overconfident, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. That one was, we have a podcast. That was our catchphrase. That was what I came up with last week.
Okay.
Dumb
And this
Comic
week?
Creators. We have a podcast.
Okay. And this week?
We continue our podcast.
That's worse.
No, it's tweaked.
No, that's just bad.
No, you see, it's tweaked. It's better.
Hold on 1 second.
That was lame. You just pretended to do a spit take.
I don't want to spit on my floor. I have to clean that up later.
Where's your commitment to this podcast?
Fine.
We continue to podcast. I think that's a great. Say our name.
Dumb comic creators.
We continue the podcast.
No.
It's exactly what we're doing.
If that's our catchphrase, we don't continue the podcast because I quit.
No. Don't quit. Don't quit it at the beginning of the episode.
I'll quit at the end. If that's
Okay,
our
good.
catchphrase.
All right, good. So who are we?
We are the dumb comic creators. Who are you?
I'm
Keegan
Keegan
Shiner.
Shiner,
Who am I?
Eric Schwartz.
And we are the dumb comic
We
creators.
already said that part.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was still going over my head over continuing to do a podcast. It was so bad. It made me.
Nope. Quit at the end.
Okay.
Because today we have a very special guest. His name
Mr.
is
Jon Westoff.
Jon Westoff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I always get the name wrong.
That bit is still not funny.
I
And
don't mean to do it. It's not on purpose.
it doesn't matter.
I've been called worse.
So John is a comic book writer and letterer. And tell us a little bit about how you got into comic writing.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the additional designation as a letterer. No, few people acknowledge me as that is my primary duty,
Oh, cool.
and probably the only reason people work with me is because I letter my own stuff. So it's a good skill.
It's
for writers
insanely
out there.
hard. As somebody who's tried it, I know it's insanely hard to do. So I think you should get credit for
Thank
doing
you so
it.
much. Yes. You know, I was fortunate enough to learn some Photoshop from people about 10 years ago and just stuck with it, and it's gotten better. But yeah, I got into writing just because I was on a comic forum, the 11 O'Clock Comics podcast, another rival podcast. I'm sure you guys fight in the streets every night. They've been around for
Those
forever.
bozos. No, I'm-
And they had a great forum, you know, back in the day when message board forums were a lot more popular. And I just met a great community of people on there. Posted one day, you know what? I want to try my hand at writing. I never really had aspirations to be a writer or anything, but kind of had a couple ideas that I wanted to see in comic form. And thankfully, longtime collaborator now, Bob Gar Ornelas, he responded, you know, I'm sure much to his chagrin now. And we've been working together ever since. So it was a storybook start and ending.
Had you met him before you started working with him?
Just through the forum, you know, I didn't even know his real name. You know, we used forum handles then, and you know, just talking to him on different, you know, topics, and he kind of jumped in one day and said, "Hey, I guess you seem like you're not a psychopath. I'll work with you."
Oh, cool.
The bare minimum of everything. You're not a psychopath. We're good.
And what was
That's
your
all it
first comic? Is that Apocalypse Meh?
That was
Okay.
my first comic. Not Bob had been doing his own comics for several years before then.
Okay.
But yeah, that was my first writing. The first page in that is the first thing I ever wrote.
Wow. Cool. So can you, just for our listeners, do you want to summarize or talk about it? Just kind of, it's about, you know, like a guy who, it seems like demons live in the world now. It's kind of
Hell on earth.
hell on earth. Thanks, Eric. That's exactly the words that I was looking for.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Too stupid
Exactly
to
it.
find. Cool. So how did you come up with this concept?
So the first couple pages of that, where you know it's just Jim kind of walking through life and you know seeing some kind of odd things. Yeah, pretty much this image here with him at the bus stop kind of popped in my head. It was like, what if hell came to earth and life kind of went on? You still had to go to your crappy job.
Yeah.
And that I think is exactly as I pitched it to Bob. I didn't have any of the script written or characters in my head. I just kind of had this image of this first scene. And yeah, he picked that out. I don't even remember the other things I had pitched to him. And then I was so excited. I think I was working in an emergency room that night.
Oh, wow.
And it was slow. So I just said, let me type this on the computer and send it over to him. I wrote the first 10 pages in a couple hours and asked him what he thought. And we went back and forth. And this is what we came up with. So.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And I have no idea why. You'll see a theme here in some of my work, but the idea of, you know, hell, and I'm just kind of fascinated with that. And what if it was real? And again, like, I mean, as we've seen, you know, horrible things in the last year, you get the sense that if the world did kind of come to a halt or had some major things happen, we would kind of still go to our jobs and hate them and take public transportation and all that.
I don't know that any of us would be that surprised, right? That's kind of
Right.
like, you know, like, oh, it's just another day. Like,
I also think
Yep.
half the world will be convinced, like, no, hell's not on earth. What are you talking about?
That's
Thank
true too.
Thanks, Biden.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can actually link.
So had you done any writing before that you started to?
You know, I had some friends in high school. You know, we were, you know, big into like sketch comedy and stuff. So that was kind of what started my interest in it. And I appreciate you guys that have read some of my work. You can kind of get that theme still. You know, I do lean towards more of the humor side.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I started. But you know, didn't really find that was my niche. So when you know, I've been reading comics since I was 11, and you know, in my mid 20s, you know, again, meeting some other cool people who had done some independent comics. I was like, this seems like something cool I could do and get some stories out there and see what happens. Especially at the time this came out, web comics had really just started and were big. So
Oh yeah.
Apocalypse Meh did start as a web comic.
Oh cool. Cool. Did you have your own website, or were you posting on the site?
So I was fortunate enough, another person I met through the forum, he ran a website that's unfortunately not with us for like independent journalism called Osmosis Online.
Okay.
And I had no experience with posting, and there wasn't a lot of the sites there's now, like Webtoons and Tapas.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, I'll post it on my site. And the first 38 pages or something he posted, as we put them out, was able to kind of have my own site to start.
Wow, cool.
But he did a lot of the work behind the scenes, so it was really nice. We just sent him the page and he posted it and we sent it out there.
Oh, that's awesome.
You said you did sketch improv. Is your writing style more like improv based or sketch based? And that, do you have? You said you kind of had a concept, but did you like have an ending that you eventually wanted to get into mind, or was it just I have this beginning, I want to see where it goes? I think you kind of already touched on that a little bit.
I am definitely, they call it what do they call it, by the seat of your pants writer, more than I'm trying to now. 10 years in, get better at. Let's not keep the artist drawing 6,000 pages while you meander through these jokes that aren't that funny. So this one, definitely, you get the sense that by the middle of the story, Bob and I realized that it was a cool little slice of life take, but it needed to have more to it. So then we kind of switched the theme. In the second half was more targeted. It was more, okay, this is 3 or 4 parts to get to an ending to the story and these characters, so we can, move on to something else.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I kind of do both. I still kind of try to leave it open. Even, our newest project, it started as like a short, and then we kind of see how do we feel about the characters and that we've created in the short part, and then let's grow it into something bigger. I'm just kind of that style of writer. I like to see the art come back and see what we have, and then kind of grow it from there.
Oh, great. And that project's called Child Possession Services, yeah? Which is currently on Kickstarter. Which will be a link
on Kickstarter.
A link in our in the description of the episode if you want to find it.
Listeners, look below, you'll find it.
I also just flashed it on the screen share, and somebody in chat has posted it. Is that you posting that?
That's me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah. So I put that up.
Will you ever go back to Apocalypse Meh? Not to spoil the ending, but it kind of leaves it open for a possibility of a sequel. Because I'm not going to spoil the ending, but there's a thing that happens that you see some people and you're like, oh, something big could be happening. So obviously, you said this is our first one 10 years ago. I don't know. Are you ever going to pick up your pen for this one again?
So we talked about that. We actually had a longer story written, and again, just being respectful of artist time. And this is something I very much co-created with Bob Gar, the artist. And we kind of just wanted to move on to other things. As Keegan mentioned, our most recent project together is Child Possession Services. And to be honest with you, we do envision it in the same world, but we've kind of shifted to a different part of it at a different time.
Oh, cool.
It may spoil a little bit if people read Apocalypse Meh now. We do see it as the same universe, but obviously when people read Child Possession Services, you'll get that this is a little bit before hell comes to earth, so to speak.
Oh, interesting. So it kind of leads in. Yeah.
I saw similarities, but I didn't realize it was the same universe.
The Westoff universe, yeah. Westoff.
I would call it I appreciate that. I would call it the Ornelas verse, because it really, he just, I want to write where his strengths are, and I just think he has such a, great design style, and his monsters are really cool, and he has that, just that clean line. So I kind of like writing in this kind of slice of life horror, weird, comedy style for him, because I just think his art just fits it so well. We work pretty well together.
Yeah, I like how much space he gives the dialogue in your comics. That's something I noticed right away, is that there was a lot of dialogue where sometimes you don't see as much in comics. It depends on the comic, but people get obsessed with the action, But I think your bits work in these comics, which is cool and like funny, and You know, it's like it's fun sight gags in these demon comics, and
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna get to the chicken one, but
The chicken one. No, thanks. Yeah, no, I definitely I try to use the comics medium, but honestly, again, that was my first project, and now 10 years later, to do it again, might do it a little differently. Some of it was an experience as far as I actually had to pull back on some of the dialogue because Bob actually originally lettered it before I had, gotten my feet under me, and we had to cut because it was just too much. And that's a lot of writers do that to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to, dump the page and have the characters talking for 8 panels with 27 balloons about all their life story. And you got to leave some of that, for the reader to kind of get themselves. So.
Oh, so that's a question. How do you write your scripts, and what do they kind of look like? Do they look like screenplays, or are they kind of just free flow?
It's definitely more like screenplays. I try to ask the writer, and honestly, 95% of the time, they want panel for panel descriptions.
Okay.
The common vernacular is Marvel style is kind of the open paragraph,
Mm-hmm.
even though, I think Alan Moore is the one who kind of more perfected the long paragraph descriptions for an entire page. But
right.
Yeah, mine is definitely broken down panel for panel. And some of that is, my style. I know the character has to be, turning a certain way so they can do this facial expression when they turn back and look at the character. So,
oh, cool.
But I asked most of my artists, how do you want it broken down? From the little bit of comic writing that I saw when I first started, I feel like a lot of writers do work in that.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot for the artist to have to sit down and then try to figure out how you want the page paced and how to break it down. It's just easier just to do it. I definitely leave it open though. I always tell my artists, change it. If you need an extra page or this panel doesn't work, we can always change anything. But I do try to break it down as much as I can.
I just found this book at the library. It's called Words for Pictures, and it has it's comic book scripts from like a bunch of different. No, it's not. This is the wrong one. Never mind. No, I was so excited. I thought I found this book. There's a book out there somebody put together with comic book scripts from different comic writers, and they're all in different formats. Like Kevin Smith's in there, a bunch of different famous comic writers, and I was just gonna, I don't know.
I'd be interested in seeing that. Bendis is a good one.
I honestly thought it was this one, but it's not.
Because his I've read, in the back of like trade paperbacks and stuff when he puts his script.
Yeah.
I think he's a good one to kind of gauge around because he definitely he puts a lot in his description, but it may not always make it to the page because he is a little bit verbose too. But
yeah. I'll figure that out.
You kind of talked about this briefly, but what advice would you give to to either your younger self as a comic book writer or to new comic book writers in general? You kind of talked about how you said you had to take a step back and that you have obviously changed how you write and just as you've grown.
So, I mean, the first piece of advice I would give is find a way to pay your artists or compensate them in some way. Make sure you're clear up front. If they're willing to work and kind of co-own the creation, then that's fine. But find a way to compensate them for their time. It takes a long time to do the art. They put a lot into it. So that would be my first piece of advice. The second piece is, this is something people say a lot, but I do think it's true. And I've definitely, 10 years into writing, found this out. Be realistic about the length of your project. We talked about Apocalypse Meh, how, honest with you, it was 38 pages. And then I had written an entire 38-page script for the second issue, and then it had way more that it was going to do. There was all the kinds of things, and then just realizing, how much time Bob was spending on it, and how we also wanted to do other things, which you guys mentioned, the chicken comic and stuff like that. Just be realistic on the length of your project. If you're working with an artist who's full time and who's willing to commit to it, and knock out your 27 issue series, great, but it's probably not going to happen. We all want to sit down and write, our Sweet Tooth and our Scalped and our long running series that are just going to be beloved by everybody. But, when you're working with, hence I picked the name of the company now, it's Part-Time Comics. I work with a lot of people who, this is not their full-time gig. We do this, for our hobby, for enjoyment. hopefully for a little extra cash on the side. But they just don't have the time. If I sit down and hand them a 24 issue series, they're not going to finish it realistically, until we're 7 years old. So be realistic on the length of your project. Start small, especially if you haven't written anything. Write a 12-page story, write an 8-page story, write one issue, a one shot, and see how you feel about it, and then go from there.
That's good advice. Yeah.
Good advice. Thank you.
Especially when you're, when you get into it and you don't realize how your words fit on the page, and suddenly that 20-page comic book script that you thought you had is 38 pages. And
that's exactly what happened to me.
That's exactly probably what happens to all of us. That happened to me too. So,
and sometimes you have to go through that, right? You have to experience. I have some awful pages that I lettered early on that looked terrible, but I had to experience that to understand. Oh, I can't put 30 words in a single balloon and try and jam it in this panel. And you have to, be kind to your letterers and your artists and yourself. So there's a lot of lessons. Sometimes we even though people can tell us 100 times over, these lessons, sometimes you do have to learn it, and that's okay. But
there's actually an artist that I gave the script to. I gave the script to 3 artists, and the one that told me, no, this is terrible, was the one I've worked with the most.
Wow.
Because he was just like, there's no way to fit all these words on the page,
And that can be invaluable too. Work with people who are going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You don't want them 6 pages in telling you then, you know what, I don't think this is going to work. You want them to tell you right away. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you started writing this comic, and are you collaborating, or are you paying your artists, or how does that work?
I would say I try to pay the artists, or at least compensate them in some way, whether it's, we crowdfund and you get, 50 copies of the book to sell on your own, or I just pay you a page rate. I try to compensate anybody who doesn't have co-ownership of the product.
Okay.
Even if they're like, I'll work for free, I try to do that as little as possible.
Yeah.
I want to compensate them in some way. Again, for their time, if they're not going to get anything on the back end, from it, or agree with them straight up. If I do sell these at conventions, I'll give you 50%, whatever I sell, or online or whatever.
Oh, good.
So I do try to compensate. Mm-hmm. I've been fortunate enough. Again, I've formed connections with a lot of my artists. A lot of us are friends and talk and text pretty much every day. So usually when we work together, we know that we're kind of creating something together.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Let's move on to Bulletproof Chicken. Was this your second project?
I definitely had a few shorts before then.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough, again, through that comic forum, 11 O'Clock Comics, we put out some anthology series and did quite a few shorts for that. And then once Bob and I kind of got together for our first convention together, we went to Harold's Chicken Shack, which is a famous chicken joint here in Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
And, we were joking about the bulletproof glass and the bulletproof chicken. And I said, that's it. That's our next comic. So I came up with this first 8 or 10 pages that Bob drew. And then we realized again, this isn't a one-off joke. We've got a little bit more here. So then we brought in Matt Nixon to finish the book. And then it became a sequel, and there's a prequel in there and all kinds of stuff in the next issue. But yeah, this was my first, realized full-length project in print.
So this is Harold's Chicken in Chicago. That's awesome.
It's awesome. I live in Chicago, so that's really cool.
And I am from the suburbs, but I lived there for 5 years.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah. No, we were couldn't find anywhere to eat around the convention center, and we ended up at Harold's Chicken Shack right there by McCormick Place, and we were just joking and having a good time, and I was like, yeah. And that's how many of my projects start. It's kind of a one-off joke between friends, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll show you. I'll make this into a script.
So this started as is supposed to be a one-shot, right? Is kind of okay.
And it did very well. We had a very successful Kickstarter. Almost 300 backers, did very well, and people were just super excited. It's Bob's art. It's pretty easy, and Matt. Their designs are great, in this over-the-top action spoof that we made with, anthropomorphic chickens. So it was a pretty easy sell, and we've enjoyed the success that we've had with it.
Oh, it's hilarious. And such a like simple concept that's just executed really well, you know. Um, and just like the sight gags are good, and like she's got a metal claw leg for her amputee, you know,
Yep.
chicken leg that they were eating at the restaurant.
Drumstick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny.
No, there's some great stuff too. I mean, also there's the obviously there's the Robo Chicken reference at the very end.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, did you take inspiration from like other like? You obviously took inspiration from Robo Chicken or Robo Cop. Any other inspirations you took for this one? Because I don't want to say it's cliche, but there's a lot of like cop cliches, like the partner dies, the
Yeah. So you see Lethal Weapon,
yeah, you see
Yeah.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
You know, in the sequel we do Rambo, Kickboxer. So it's definitely meant to pay homage to those things. We're not hiding it in any way. Bob's awesome, amazing cover, which I wish I owned, is, you know, the Contra game series. So we definitely wanted it to be that, just up front, because it's so, you know, it's so ridiculous that
Yeah.
we were like, let's just sell out, not even make it in any way serious. But I thought, at least I enjoyed that the sight gags are there and the, you know, the spoofs and all that, but it is, you know, a pretty serious and violent story. It was meant to be mostly splash pages. It was meant to be a spoof of Hard Boiled by
okay.
Frank Miller and Jeff Darrow.
Okay.
So it was meant to be, let's plop this RoboCop's parody right into, you know, basically make it our Hard Boiled. But I liked the story enough to where I kind of had to expand it, like I said. So
Oh, that's great. Yeah, like the weirder and more cartoonish the look of it, the easier the violence is to digest and like just laugh at instead. You know, it's like it works really well in this book. Oops.
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, that we had a lot of fun, and again, we did a sequel that was actually a sequel and multiple prequels, and like we just kind of were like, now let's tell every story we want to tell with this character and get it out of our system. We did have another short that was a spoof of True Detective, which was in a digital only anthology. I could send you that as well. That was kind of the end cap of the series, but we tried to do a trade paperback for this, and unfortunately, we were not successful. We tried to do a little overly ambitious, tried to do multiple trade paperbacks at once for our company at the time. Was called Kingbone Press, and unfortunately it wasn't successful. So the trade never saw print, but I do have, you know, we still have the singles, and again, I love when people tell me they read it on Comixology or whatever.
Oh, cool.
Got a kick out of it.
Cool. So you and I figured out this interview on Discord, and are there any other forums that you still use to like connect with comic people?
Yeah, I'm in quite a few Facebook groups. I mean, there's one Facebook group if you are an independent creator who's interested in a wealth of knowledge. Indie Comics Conspiracy, it's called. You know, search it as a private group, but you know,
Okay.
you can join. And it's that's been great. That's been a definite callback, like I said, to the days of the, you know, when forums were popular. I am in a few Discord groups as well.
Yeah, I think we met on Badass Writers and Creators.
Yep.
And then there's
I
also
appreciate your response there.
Yeah, it was like I'm not gonna say Destiny because it's a little cheesy, but it was like Destiny because it was cheesy. I was on there like I've never been on Discord. I'm looking for podcast guests, and John's on there like, anyone got a podcast I could be on? It was like that day. It's like, what is happening? That was so weird.
Destiny.
Yeah.
And the clouds opened up and light came down both you guys, and one in Boston, one in Chicago-ish area. And you're like,
the giant robotic
then,
chicken in the sky came down and
yeah.
And you're like, spotlight.
Connected us all.
No, but that was cool. So these forums are definitely good resources for people making comics.
Yeah, you I've definitely been in a few where they've been a little toxic or just kind of like, hey, here's my Kickstarter link. But Russell, who you know runs
who's
that
been
group,
on our podcast, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's great, And yeah, I think it's a great way. You find those little like communities where you can connect. I mean, I mentioned the Indie Comics Conspiracy Group. I mean, I was pretty much done with comics like 2 years ago. It just got to be too much, and there was some family issues and just life, and my kids were growing up, and they were a big part of just kind of I stayed in the group, and just seeing other people create and just get excited, and it just made me realize, you know what, maybe I don't have to be so gung-ho as I was the last 10 years, but maybe I can still do this. And again, pick the name Part-Time Comics for a reason, to just kind of do it on my own time with the people I want to work with, and not put so much pressure on myself to be overly successful. That's kind of where I'm at.
Just put stuff out into the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Have you had so you've done trade shows and conventions and everything?
Yeah. First one was probably 2010 or something like that. We don't do a ton, because tables can be expensive, and small press creators usually don't even make your table back, but I've done a few dozen.
Oh, cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, the I was gonna start going to those, but then the pandemic hit this year.
Yeah.
I had a lot of plans for 2020,
shows.
But yeah.
Yeah, me too. I was gonna launch a whole company, and I was like, eh.
Yeah.
But here we are the next year.
I was going to visit a place outside my apartment, but then 2020 happened.
Cool.
McDonald's.
Eric, did you have any other questions for John?
No, not currently this time.
Okay. Do you want to talk about your Kickstarter project, Child Possession Services?
Sure, appreciate it.
Cool.
Yeah, so we have a Kickstarter going currently for CPS, Child Possession Services. Appreciate you putting it up there on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it stars Connie Dar, who is a social worker for possessed or recently possessed kids. I am a social worker by trade.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, much like some of the other stories I've described to you, Connie started off as this first story you're seeing here on the screen, unless you're listening. And it was, it was a short. I kind of pitched it as, again, longtime collaborator Bob Ornelas. He loves the character Constantine, the Hellblazer.
Yeah.
So I pitched it as female Constantine, and just kind of as a jab to him. I think he had asked me to write a short for a series, which I have here. Mendicant was a short story series he was doing, and I pitched him, kind of a joke, as I usually do. You'll see a theme. Most of the things in my life are a joke. And I felt like, what, we got something here. And Bob added a lot to it. He said, let's make her a woman of, Eastern Indian descent. Let's, I came up with the idea for her to be a social worker, but he just came up with a lot about her character and how she was going to, react to these things. He's written, some of the stories. He colors here, the first story. So he's had a lot of investment, and
cool.
I think we finally, after 10 years, we've worked on a lot of projects, but we really have a character we're excited about, more stories. So when we did that original 8-page story, again, we kind of knew right away that we had something else that we wanted to expand on. And, we kind of talked a little bit about it being, like you guys said, the Westoff verse, or I'd like to say the Ornelas verse. Kind of in the same universe that we had kind of dipped our toes in already.
Looking at this right now, I can see the Constantine that I didn't realize. Like, she smokes. Her coat is the Constantine coat, or jacket. And then she kind of has a very similar personality. So that is a good reference. I saw like the similarities, but didn't wasn't as apparent in the forefront.
Yeah. Are you? Yeah, her original name was Constantina. That's how far I went with it. And he's like, let's just call her Connie. Her name will be Constance. I'm like, oh, okay, Bob, Mr. Serious. But he was right, and I'm glad he said that, because I think we got more mileage out of it than the one-off joke that I wanted it to be.
Yeah. So are some of these stories based on your experience with being a social worker?
Well, I mean, I've never batted a demonic child out of the air as he was leaping towards me, but
are you sure?
I definitely think.
Isn't that social work 101? All right, kids. Most of these kids will be possessed. Yeah. All right, students. Most of these kids will be possessed.
Yep. Tell them you hate them. Insult them as you're
smoke in front of them.
put a pentagram on the ground to get there. Yeah, no. Yeah, smoking her. No, just so everyone knows, I'm not putting kids in danger. Okay, I shouldn't joke about that.
No.
I think maybe the stories aren't directly, but I mean, I definitely, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, I definitely think a lot of the character and the stories I'm writing with Connie are a little bit of a reflection on my 15 years of being a social worker and kind of getting to that point where you started off your career and you have high aspirations for where it's going to go and you're going to change the world, and then unfortunately the world has a way of kind of beating you down a little bit, especially in the helping field, I should say, as a lot of people know, if you're a nurse or you're a social worker, anybody who works with people, it can kind of bring you down. So Connie is kind of a way of being a little bit therapeutic with that, kind of voicing some of my frustrations through her.
Interesting.
With, again, wanting to help people, but then being bogged down with paperwork and bureaucracies and stuff like that. So
yeah,
the stories may not directly be, an exact experience of mine, but definitely a lot of, what she's going through in the book.
Cool. Both my mom and my grandma were social workers for DCFS in Illinois. So
yeah, and that's CPS is commonly referred to as Child Protective Services.
Yeah.
In Illinois, we call it DCFS, but a lot of states, when you say CPS. Now, CPS is also Chicago Public Schools, and
yeah. So that's confusing.
Yeah. So, but CPS, I thought originally it was just going to say the letters on the title, but Bob wanted to actually put the title because I thought people would open the book and think Child Protective Services, and then it would be a twist. And he's like, no, let's just put the name on the front of the book. I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah, probably better marketing.
Yeah. People be like, why am I reading this about Chicago Public Schools?
Interesting. Yeah, cool. So how can people find you? You're on Twitter at @antidrummer.
Yep, we are on Instagram and Twitter, at Part-Time Comics on Twitter, part_time_comics with an X on Instagram. So sorry for the weird typing that they make you do on there. But if you just Google Part-Time Comics with an X, CMOIX,
okay.
You'll find it. But I'm also anti_drummer on Twitter if you want to follow me as a writer. And mostly I talk about Magic the Gathering on there, though. So if you're into that, follow me.
What do you think of the next set? Well, I think
it's amazing. I think they're doing awesome things with the flip cards. I like the flip equipments.
We can talk about that all night. I'm really excited for the Wrath of God that costs 3 mana or 5 total, technically, whatever.
I am a mid-range player by heart, so I am angry about that. I do not want all my people.
Finally, blue-white control's a thing. Yay!
Oh yeah, it's been for a long time.
It's been an unsuccessful thing for a long time.
I am excited about them giving white some powerful cards for once. Yeah. It's been a minute. Yeah. I'm very excited for Call Time.
I'm really excited about the flip cards. I think are gonna be fantastic. The gods versus the equipment, I think are gonna be really good. I think there's a lot of cool stuff in the set.
Yeah, I've been loving this set the last few years, but I also mostly play cube and draft, so I don't have to worry about the busted cards that are in construction.
I'm the once every 3 months player now because I only do the pre-release.
That's fine.
Show up, do my sealed. Be like, all right, that was bad cards. I'll see you guys in 3 months.
Yep, most fun thing in Magic you can do. I've even been getting the pre-release kits to bring home. My son is 9.5 and he's been getting into it, so we just play at home now. That's the most fun in Magic. It's kind of low stakes. It doesn't matter how good you are. You just, like you said, show up every 3 months, sling some cards, and go home.
Yeah, it's fun.
Love it. Well, I'll come on again to your Magic the Gathering podcast that we're starting right now.
Yeah, we're starting right now. You heard it right here. Anti-Grammar and Schwartz.
And I'll be the one who doesn't know anything.
Yes.
Although you have played, Keegan, one tournament. You showed up, you went 0-4 and left.
That's right. That's
Finish
true.
on the bottom. I love it. I usually go 0-4 and I've been playing for 25 years.
I like new experiences. What can I say? You got to try everything at least once.
Yep.
I like it.
It was fun. I had a fun time.
You seem to be smiling, so that was good.
Yeah, I had a good time. I was like, what do I do now? He's like, no, don't do that. And I'm pretty sure I should have done that,
It's the best game, It has the funnest mechanics, sweet art, so it's got one.
Oh, yeah.
I got about 600 cards right here in front of me, building the commander deck.
Wow, cool.
We'll be here all night now.
You also have a drum set. Do you play drums? I'm assuming
I
you
do.
Yeah.
I do mostly now. I haven't played. I haven't been in a band in about 5 or 10 years, but mostly teaching my kids now. They like
cool.
to jam on it. So.
Are they playing the drum as well or no?
Yeah, he just said that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I was looking at my Magic cards.
Now,
I was still.
I'm so excited.
Eric, you have a problem. No, I'm just kidding. Put the cards down, Eric. Put them
Oh,
down.
And I should mention as you're wrapping up here, our colorist on the new book, I don't know if you saw on the Kickstarter, is previous guest Winston Gambro,
Oh, wow. Cool.
Wow.
who I met through one of the groups I was talking about on Facebook. I just said, hey, we're looking for
wow.
a colorist. We're looking to up our game. And Winston was one of the people who replied. And I'll be honest with you guys, tell him you want your cut, because I was deciding between colorists to use. And I when you introduced yourself, I said, let me listen to an episode of their podcast. And I saw his name in your feed. Listen to his episode. He seemed like, he's a cool guy. He wasn't taking no crap from, these wild people giving him crazy questions. So I said, I like this guy, and he's from Illinois. You know what? I texted Bob that night.
Yeah,
Let's
he's
go
from
with
Aurora.
Winston.
I was going to say, it's like, what a small world.
That's small.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see by the new colors in there, his art was the first choice, but it definitely, his interview with you guys definitely sold me on working with him. He just seemed like a guy who had his head in the right area about what he wants to do with comics. And,
Oh, cool. That's great.
guys, I
That's so
emailed
cool.
him that night. I
That's
said,
actually
are you available? Let's go.
Tell
That's a
him
really
we said
good for
hi.
us.
And you guys got to come on when you well, I guess you did finish it. Never mind.
No, we're still working on it. Ain't done yet.
Oh, yeah. So in the future, when it's done, yeah,
Nice.
come on and we'll review it, and we'll have Henry read it. Maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't have.
I don't know if you've heard the Henry reviews or not. My nephew, who's 7, has reviewed 4 comics total. No, 3 comics, because you only have the 2 comics on, correct?
Yeah.
So he's reviewed both of Keegan's comics,
Which he
ripped
hated.
them to which he hated, ripped them to shreds.
Worst critic in the world, basically.
Yeah.
Meanest critic.
I mean, it's
And except for like one other comic, he liked that one, but that's like the exception.
He
And
liked
he's like,
Winston's. He liked Winston's Rex Radley Boy Adventure.
Yeah.
Which is
Nice.
meant for kids, right? Like,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
seems fair.
So that was
Which
fun.
is-
Maybe he's not your target audience. That's all.
Yeah.
No, I got. Is that on tape? I got to go listen to that.
Yeah,
It's on
it's in
podcast, yeah.
a couple of those episodes. Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Anyway, John, thanks for coming on. Oh, what's that?
RTFC. John gets that.
What is this? A magic thing?
It's a magic thing. The number one thing told by judges to you: read the effing card.
Read the. Oh yeah, it took me a second.
Okay.
Hilarious.
We're doing a comic podcast, Eric.
I'm gonna make stickers of that. And when people ask me questions about my book, I'll say, "Read the effing comic."
Yeah, RTFC right there.
Reading the comic explains the comic.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
can you explain?
Sometimes.
Can you explain the ending? Have you read it? Well, no. Well, read the ending.
Can we proceed, Eric?
I'm good.
John, thank you so much. You've been a wonderful guest.
Thank you.
so much.
And find his stuff online. We're gonna say it again in our outro. And
Descriptions are down below.
yeah, I think we went over where your Twitter and Instagram are.
Yeah, hit me up there. And then our only online website presence right now is storenvy.com/part-time comics. So
Okay.
check out some of our books there.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Signing off. No more questions. Staring at the other half of this brownie for 30 minutes.
Yeah, this was fun.
That was fun. Anything that you want us to not include in your or in the from the interview that you like, we'll edit it out. So, or is everything good?
No, I did out all the stuff where you talked about liking blue-white control.
Okay,
hear that shit.
That's gone. We'll be like mid-range,
No.
perfect. That's the only thing I'll say.
Mid-range forever.
Mid-range.
No,
perfect.
it's your show. Hey, you tell people when they come on your show, whatever they say is going in. That's how you get the hits. That's how you get the rating. try to bait them into salacious questions, scandalous things.
We'll get
There's no.
We'll get the skeletons out of your closet in a second. Don't worry. Next interview, we'll get those skeletons in the closet out in the book.
Let us know if you know anyone who wants to be a guest. We're always looking for indie artists and comic book writers.
I post on Facebook and Twitter, so I'll definitely promote it, especially when it goes up. I'll let them know. I appreciate you guys being and putting in the effort. Not everybody has the time or wants to read a 10-year-old book, so I appreciate you guys kind of looking through my catalog.
Oh no, yeah, I totally like it. We're gonna review one of them next week.
Yeah, we'll review one of them next week. Just for so we always do a 2-parter thing. So
yeah,
whenever we interview a guest, we always review their comic the next week. So be prepared for that as well.
Would you rather it was like the preview or the or
like anyone in particular wants to review?
I mean, whatever you guys want to review. The preview was kind of intended for that, to kind of hype things up, but I know that it's also because it is a preview, it kind of leaves you in the lurch a little bit. So there's not a ton there, but yeah, if you want to review that or any of the books you want, it's fine.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll do both, Eric, Apocalypse and like a little bit on CPS.
We can do both.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, but Eric's already read it.
Yeah, I know.
I can reread it. It's an amazing thing I have, but
he'll be playing.
I read the hell out of the chicken.
Reading.
I read the chicken thing all the way through. Loved it.
Nice.
I read, and then I read. What the problem is? I read Apocalypse Meh. I read the first part twice, basically, because I read it last week when we were talking, and then and then I had to do it again. So, it's really funny. It's really, really funny. So. I don't know.
No, it's really good. I really liked it. It was definitely
I'm
fun.
embarrassed. This isn't like me, but
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. That was another one with the Bulletproof Chicken trade that just didn't get the hype going at the time, so we weren't able to reach our goal. But maybe someday I'll be able to put it out on paper. But
it's
I think it works
good.
as a digital.
I mean, it's really good.
I was sitting there watching this, and
it's like twins, and like the guy's not dead. You couldn't be him.
It reminded me so much of Axe Cop in a good way. Is how it's like what I was thinking. Like this reminds me of Axe Cop in a good way.
He even has like the mustache.
Are you saying I write like a 5-year-old? Hey, I'm okay with that.
A very intelligent 5-year-old. No.
A very intelligent 5-year-old, and he can also like go over the top very well.
I do like Axe Cop too. I'm definitely read that.
Wow, cool.
No, I appreciate it. Again, whatever you guys want to review or whatever, I look forward to hearing it and let me know. I'll post it.
Okay.
Cool. Good, bad, or indifferent. Be honest. You're not gonna.
No, yeah.
Not gonna hurt me.
No.
We don't usually have people back that. I mean, we don't review people we don't like the comics for.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I get that's fine.
Like if we kind of do the Thumper saying from Bambi. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Yeah.
So if we don't review your comic.
Well, I will tell you guys, I appreciate that. I definitely, and I've heard this from other creators as well. People are okay with critical statements. Somebody told me they didn't like the placement of the logo for Part-Time Comics on the thing. And that was good feedback. He also told me that there was something in the story that was confusing to him. That's good. But I submitted the book to another show, and boy, they ripped it apart. They were talking about Bob's art looks like
really.
It's okay if you have that, but then just don't review it if you're really that hypercritical.
Right.
Now you're just nitpicking what you don't like instead of offering something. Because
I mean, I'd rather we want to push people up, hold people up, and not put them down. That's my philosophy.
Like if you're coming to talk to us, usually you're trying to promote something. And we don't want to be we don't want to be pushing that down. We want to be propping you up. I think. Did I literally just say verbatim what you just said, Keegan?
Pretty much. You just pretty much took everything you said.
Okay.
This is the way.
Keegan, I totally thought of this original statement that you did not say at all.
Again, I think it's okay to be critical. And
no,
say,
me too.
I think this didn't work, or this.
We do say that in our reviews, but mostly we if we don't like it, we're just not going to talk about it.
when Bob and I did a podcast together too, we were, we decided very early on, you know what, if it's a book we really just don't have a lot positive to say about, we'll just move on to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's the
not
best
everybody's
way.
style. So there's certainly room for
We did that
people
with
who
comics.
trash us.
Global Comics. Have you heard of Global Comics?
I am not.
Oh, so it's this new platform that's
Mm-hmm.
sort of like Comixology, but you upload your own comic and can go panel by panel through a book with the same scrolling kind of technique. And you, as the creator, can actually set where the panel is on your book for people to read it. And then they have revenue shares for authors and everything. And we did
I
this
gotta look it up. I don't see it.
Global Comics with an X. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just like I should have known.
Just like you.
Just stupid, so stupid.
And we did this review, and I was that on. It wasn't on Winston's episode, or you would have heard it, but
No.
it was right around there because the next week or so they found out about it because we had guests on that were using it, and so the guests told them because they were like working with their team on their comic. And they were like, we heard that you were a little bit critical in your review, and we're actually changing our payment revenues, thing. Would you take a look at it? And can we come on your podcast? And so I actually really like it.
Yeah, I'm checking it out now. It's cool.
Getting into comic book publishing right now, I can say it's like one of the better places to put your book for people to actually read it.
Yeah, we've tried a few, and Comixology's been good to us, but honestly, we don't do much, because it's hard to stick out on a site like that. But this looks cool.
Yeah, and you can like tag it, and people can just get on and read, which is really cool too.
You can choose whether or not you want it to be free or if you want to charge per page. You can do stuff like that too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I know, for example, a lot of them are free because they're just trying something out. Others ones are more, they've done more work, or so they're more experienced, or they're more confident. So they'll charge per page. You pay per page is how it works. So there's pluses and minuses to that. So like for example, Apocalypse Meh, like 88 pages, I think. You buy in, I think, 50-page intervals. So I'd have to buy 2 intervals.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
And then I'd have 12 left over. Is a big problem, which is not necessarily enough for a full.
That's weird.
Another issue.
That's kind of weird. Well, that's cool though. I'm gonna check that out. Yeah.
I thought they were associated with Russell somehow, because when the guy invited me to his Discord for Global Comics, he like also invited me to Russell's Discord, which I thought was
He might be.
I thought
We're
it was really
definitely
strange.
an incestuous group. We all cross over into each other.
Yeah. So, but yeah, check it out, because I think it's actually a pretty cool way to let people read it online.
Nice.
Even though I'm still not like super impressed with the payment structure. But they've, like I said, they've updated it, so now there's like a couple different ways to do it.
It's awesome. No, I appreciate the heads up. It's even somebody who's been doing it a while like me. You don't know about all the.
This is
brand.
I mean, it's like brand new. I think it's like very spanking new. Yeah.
They eventually do want to take over Comixology as the #1 online comic book place.
Nobody wants to be number 2.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Good talking to you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much again for your time.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll end up on a conference someday.
Yeah. Look it up. All right. Take it easy, guys. I'll talk to you online.
All right. See ya.
See ya. Cool. How'd that go?
Good. We're still streaming. So
Cool.
But I think it's break time.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
I'm perfectly okay with that.
All right, cool.
Cool.
I just I need to like do something with my cats real fast.
Feed them?
One of them's in with Ashley and one's out, and the other one's out and one's in.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll look that up later.
and then we're gonna review that guy's comic, right, from last week.
Yeah. What was it again?
I'll find it.
Cool.
Okay. So give me a minute. And remember you're streaming, so weird music and stuff. Mute your mic. Last week, Jorge Zavalos, Lawbreakers. You're muted.
Cool. Ironically, on a podcast, I was just listening to a podcast. It was the inception of podcasts.
Yeah, you were. Cool.
Hey, I was really bored one day, and I thought of doing this. I'd watch a minute video and do a review of that, and then every day I would do a review of the review I did previously. So the point is, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. To the point where I'm starting to go crazy because I have no idea what the original video is anymore.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, if you want to run with that, go for it.
You want to do it with me?
Sure, I'll do it with you.
I think we could do. I think we could do that.
Okay, we just have to choose a minute video just to review.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we can do that.
okay.
What time every day?
I don't know. We could do if we want to, we could get on even early and just do the just do it before this podcast.
Okay.
This is only because it's only a minute review. It'll just take us
take us a minute to watch it.
Take a minute to watch it, then we'll try to keep the review to 2 to 3 minutes, so it's only so it's always consistent.
Well, each review would have to be a minute, right?
Yeah,
because we're gonna watch our review.
Oh yeah,
but so we're only watching a minute, so it'd be literally a minute every day.
Yeah, so it's 2 minutes because we a minute and a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, that would be hard to keep up. I think we can do it though.
You can tell I was bored at work today. I'm like, I should do a review of a video. I should do a review of a review of a video. I could do a review of a review of a review of a video. I'm like, oh, this goes so deep.
Let's do it.
Okay. So
okay. Yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board.
Okay. Well, I'll try to find a minute video or something like that.
Okay. I mean, it could even be just a minute of Gangnam Style or something like that.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do the first minute of Gangnam Style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the first minute of it.
Yeah. I don't know why, but that still cracks me up, and people don't play that song as much anymore, but
it's a fantastic song. Well, people he came out it came out that he wasn't pro-American for a while, but then when it came to this, he's like, actually no, I'm super pro-American, blah blah blah, whatever. But yeah, next week we'll review the first minute of Gangnam Style and do a minute review of it, and then every week from now on we'll just do
I think we should do a daily thing, like you were just saying.
Do it daily?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do it daily.
I think we can manage that.
I think we can manage that.
A minute every day. I I think I have a minute for you
minute.
every day.
I have a minute for you every day. We'll figure out a time to do it and just watch the video and be like, I bet you towards the end, I'm convinced I'm just gonna be like ripping out my hair. Like, I'm going crazy, Keegan. It was so good, that review. We totally nailed it. Yeah.
And then the next day, I don't
Okay.
know what we were thinking. That was just too much.
Like, what was that review? We weren't talking about anything. We were just crazy. What was the video about?
Okay. All right. So Wall Breakers. And we're going to come back. Part-Time Comics. Let me see. Where was Part-Time Comics on Instagram? Oh, comics with an X, yeah. With an X. Store Envy and... That's not them. Okay, well. Got it, okay. All right. Yeah, you ready to start? I'll start the recording.
Sure.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, yeah.
Thanks to John.
Thanks, John, for coming on the show. I really enjoyed your comics. And
I really did too. They were really, really good.
You can find him at part_time_comics with an X on Instagram. He's also at anti-drummer on Twitter.
Anti_drummer, I believe.
Yeah, just Google Part-Time Comics with an X and you'll find his comics to read. Yeah. Their current Kickstarter, too, we should mention, is CPS, Child Possession Services, giant-sized one-shot comic. It's got 28 days to go as of this recording, which means probably more like 21 days by the time this comes out. So make sure you get on there and support it. It's also good. We've read the preview. We're going to review it next week, I think.
Really good. Really worth your read. Really worth the buy.
Yeah. Okay, so Eric, we have a comic to review this week. And
Wall Breakers by
Jorge Zavalos.
Jorge. I do not know how to say his name.
Zavalos.
Zavalos.
He was
Jorge.
he was just on there.
He was.
Are you just doing the thing?
No, I really had trouble pronouncing his name in period, but I like Jorge Zavalos sounds about right.
Okay, well, it is right. I literally just edited the episode today, so
yeah,
that's it. Jorge Zavalos, and he made it's a one-shot comic called Wall Breakers. It's about like an alien invasion. So, what about the story?
The story is very reminiscent of Aliens in that people who are not expecting bad things to happen all of a sudden happens, and we're following one character, blanking on his name, unfortunately, who is pretty much he's just your Joe Schmo. He's not extraordinary. He's not nothing, and literally, aliens pop out of the wall of his apartment. He pulls out a katana, kills the aliens, and escapes out the front window. And it's kind of following him and all these people reacting to there's an alien invasion coming from, instead of coming from above, it's coming from below, where like they're popping out of this like the sewers and everything. So, and it's just like you're pretty much your classic. It's a very good intro to a world where like you're getting overrun by aliens, because it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, unfortunately, which is probably honestly the thing I dislike the most about it, was because like
that's why I liked it so much. That's why I really liked.
I just wanted to be like, all right, here's like either one's like to know like is the world effed or are the aliens effed?
But that's like how J.J. Abrams has taught us to tell stories. He's like, please end on a cliffhanger.
But I don't like that, because J.J. Abrams, like, he's very much, like the mystery box type writer.
Yeah.
But he doesn't come up with good endings is the problem. Like, he's very good at
everything is a cliffhanger.
But he's very bad at
Do you,
you know
how's your imagination doing? Is it need like a little kickstart?
it does.
Do you need to pull the string to get it started? Because if you're left with a cliffhanger like this, your imagination should be able to
Like
carry you forward.
there's what's really good about it, there's like infinite endings on it. There's so many ways it can go. I just don't
I
know.
say, if
I
you're
just want to
writing
know
the
what you're doing.
story, let Spielberg, after he buys the story from you, figure out the ending. Not your problem, right? You made
I,
this world super clean, super nice.
but in not defense of J.J. Abrams, when he didn't get the ending he wanted in Star Wars, he totally massacred the film. He literally just said, "Hey, Star Wars Episode what was it, 8? F you, done." He literally just like unwrote so many things in 8.
He unwrote his own stuff, as far as I'm concerned.
I know. He also never finished some stuff either from episode. Also, might have the problem with that, he never finished stuff in episode 7. Like like the lightsaber. Like, where'd you get the lightsaber from? A tale for a different time. Never answered that
Never
question.
answered. Yeah.
Never answered.
There's that. The more I think about that series, the worse it gets in my mind.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
it was a
problem after problem in those new Star Wars films.
episode 7 was literally Star Wars episode 4 again.
Yeah.
Again. Episode 8, I just had so many problems with that just because the writer wants to pretty much just like, first of all, I have a problem with like the cliche of I don't need to tell you anything, so we're just gonna waste your time. Where she was given like, we're going to this moon, and then we're gonna keep on having the ships go off, and then we'll hide away.
Oh yeah, that was the worst. That made absolutely no sense.
That made no sense. I'm like, no, you would tell your person that.
You would tell the military people in charge of who are they keeping secrets from? There's nobody at least listening.
I know. They also don't have any time. That's the problem though too. So they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
What are they like? If we tell you, we're gonna end up going slower.
And by the way, what also pissed me off though too is the number one character who knows it's a trap, they killed right away and didn't know it was a trap. Like, why would you kill a fan favorite character for like this mystery person who no one cares about?
Yeah.
And then also, God, what else is it? Like how like General Hux, the person that's not the lightsaber dude.
Yeah.
Like they totally just made his character a weak character to the point that I agree with J.J. Abrams just pretty much just replacing and getting rid of him right away, because the point that like what you liked about the Star Wars in the original trilogy was that the bad guys, none of them raised their voices, none of them yelled, and none of them like
they were all very cool and
they were very cool and stuff. I mean, like
basically just terrifying, like disinterested, heartless bastards, you know?
Yeah, like whereas like those like everyone like in the sequel series I thought were just emotionally immature people crying for their daddy or grandpappy.
Nobody thinks they're gonna succeed because they just don't look like the type of people who can, you know?
Yeah, I never I mean, I don't know. That was a big thing too. And literally like they just like were crying, they were screaming, and like
yeah, it was
the entire series was like they totally dropped the ball.
Was bad. I will say 8 might have been good if 9 had been better.
Yes, that is true.
Like some of those choices would have been good if 9 hadn't come along and been like every choice you made was bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 9 basically came in and said everything that just happened was wrong and didn't happen.
Yeah, literally
straight all the way down to the love scene between Finn and that girl when they kiss, and like in 9, it's like, do we have to be stationed at the same base? Like who is that girl? I don't even know her.
They literally wrote her off of 9 because fan backlash against her was so high. Like, first of all, she just deactivated her Twitter account because she was getting so much fan hate mail, and then like she was acting. Well, big deal too is like they decided that they had to like jam in this love triangle that didn't need to be there, and it was just horribly done. And her character,
no, but it was like a love pentagon because wasn't like Rey and Finn also there, and then
but they had like a weird connection.
And now this girl comes in, and he's like a stormtrooper, and oh man,
no, it was just poorly done. It was poorly done. Also, By the way, what's her face's character had absolutely no character growth or character arc at all. She started off being the most powerful and ended the most powerful.
You mean the
Like,
Stormtrooper one?
no, not the Stormtrooper one, the lightsaber one. What's her face?
Ray.
Ray.
Oh yeah. Ray. Nothing.
She literally zero character growth. Whereas
No.
like Luke Skywalker had character
I
growth.
don't think any of them had character growth, honestly.
No, none of them did. Like
Yeah.
the more you think about that series, that trilogy, I hate that trilogy.
Yeah.
Like literally,
It was like
thing...
she wanted to be she wanted to know who her parents were. I don't think she ever figured out who her parents were, and like I still don't think that it was Palpatine. Yeah.
I mean, at one point, Palpatine at one point had sex with who? Who would have sex with that?
Yeah. So anyway.
Also, like, what else was it? God, just awful. It's just horrible.
Okay. But Wall
Anyways,
Breakers.
Back to Wall Breakers.
So that's the story of Wall Breakers.
Wall Breakers. Good story, actually.
Wall Breakers reminds you of the Star Wars trilogy, which you won't like, but what you will like is how good Wall Breakers is compared to that.
No, it doesn't remind us of the. I'm saying.
No, it doesn't. No.
Wall Breakers is very good. By the way, every time I say Wall Breakers, I keep on expecting someone to be Wall Breakers, like the way they say Wahlburgers in the Conan O'Brien sketch.
Yeah.
You know the Conan O'Brien sketch where they talk about like Wahlburgers? I hope somebody just goes Wall Breakers.
Okay, no, I don't know that, so I'm gonna keep moving.
Okay, so they have a guy dressed up Thrones, Game of Thrones.
Would you stop,
fan,
please?
And
Would
whenever
you
he talks
just
about
stop?
TV series, he talks about the greatest TV series of all time. They're like, oh, I was in Game of Thrones. It's like, what? Greatest show of all time. That bit's.
Are you done?
I'm so okay. I will get back on subject. I'm done.
Connection's
I'm
breaking
so
up a little
frustrated
bit.
about the Star Wars thing.
Is it you or me? Your connection's a little weird.
Keegan,
Yeah.
we've talked about the plot. Let's talk about the artwork.
Your connection's bad.
1 second. Let me close this. See if I can think to speed up. So we've talked about the plot. You want to talk about the characters, Henry or Keegan?
I'm not Henry.
You're not Henry.
Okay,
Sorry.
so
I was yelling at you like I yelled at Henry.
okay, all right. So
Mhm.
Okay, back to it. So we talked about the plot a little bit. I do want to say one other thing. It's written a bit like a noir, and it's got like a single character. He's kind of trying to figure this out. He goes on this adventure, right? He's like, so that's all kind of noir to me, I think. It's also like sort of, we're getting to the art now, but it's drawn as a noir too. So
yeah, not colored in, very much
heavily stylized too.
heavily stylized, heavily shaded in a lot of parts.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the art. I guess we're there.
I guess we are there.
Share my screen. So, also this takes place in the future. We didn't mention that, but it's sort of the future.
Sort of the future. There's
Future-esque.
Like, future-esque. Like they've got like flying saucers to a certain extent. Watches that are in, or TVs that are in watches, as you can see.
So art.
Art.
One thing.
The art.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Is not colored, but it's still very detailed. If you go up actually a couple pages, you'll see they show a city, and the city just has a lot of details on it. There's like birds, there's other stuff too. They add just a lot of just very detailed. So
and it's all done by Jorge Zavalos. He did the story, the art, the lettering, everything. And you said he did it by hand, which is really impressive too.
It was very impressive. Like the fact this is drawn by hand. He also painted a lot of it too, which I would never realized
Yeah.
if you remember that. So it's very very well done, and it's very just like
This panel alone was just blew my mind. This is
yeah,
like
just
the hands
amount-
are so good, you know?
the watch itself. What I thought was super well detailed, and the fact that he said he hand drew that, I assume he copied and paste. He did like one part and copy and pasted, but no, he hand drew that, which is super impressive.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Twitch, I messed that up. But yeah, so it's very detailed line art. It's the action is really well done. I think his panel, the angles for each panel is like really effective. The storytelling is tight in that way. Like the panels, like there's 3 panels here. One of them is an extreme close up of blood dripping, and like one of them is of him reacting to these spurs in his hands. You know, like I just think it flowed really well. It was really easy to read, and it was very detailed. Like yeah, this comic, the art blew me away. It was like really really well done.
It was very like the art. Honestly, like to me was like a super high point for this, just because I thought the artwork was interactive. I thought it went super well, like with the just it was super detailed. Went super well with the wording and the lettering. Um, like I thought they add to each other. So, well, I will talk about more about lettering when we get to that, because there's a specific panel that like, or even like how they do this stuff, how they add the details.
Yeah. So we're not really going to talk about inking because it's very. I mean, it's kind of the same because yeah, we didn't really.
Because it's not colored and stuff too. But the lettering, specifically, I thought the lettering, was
Coloring. Let's
super...
talk about the coloring really fast.
Okay.
Did you have
coloring?
a problem with this not being colored?
No, I actually thought it made it better with it not being colored. I thought for being colored, I thought the aliens might have come out with a crazy color, and that I actually do prefer to be up to your imagination, like what I picture in my head to the colors compared to the rest of the characters.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking about this because I think color could have added a whole lot to this, but could have taken away a lot too. And
Yeah.
I guess when faced with the decision, no color is probably better here. Although it reminds me a lot of like the Frank Miller type of, you know, his Sin City work was black and white, right? This isn't as like heavily inked.
Yeah.
Which I guess is my only complaint with there not being color is that it felt like it was like ready for color, because it wasn't like heavily shadowed.
Like there's certain frames like could have done color. So for example, the one that we're on with him crashing into a bunch of aliens, I thought that would have added a lot more if it had color. Whereas other ones I thought would have taken away less. Like the frame where the alien pops out of the wall for the first time, he was a wall breaker.
Yeah.
I thought that would have taken away from it to be in color. So
I see. Yeah, I agree. So I mean, it's a very fine line between whether you should or should not have color, you know. But I think the artists approached this book knowing it wouldn't have color, and that served it really well.
Yeah.
Whereas we've seen a couple of comics where like it should have had color, you know, because it wasn't inked properly for not having color. Yeah.
So like that, like where the ones that needs that color are ones where the artwork is lacking, so you can't like have trouble judging where everything is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is obviously not that case.
Yeah. All right, so now we can move on to lettering.
Okay. I really like the lettering. I thought that it was interacted super well with the comics. So I especially like the part where like if you look at the part where like he's in the car, like a lot of times when he goes screech or whatever, I didn't realize like that was lettering. I thought that was actually like a sign on there because it was just so well placed that it didn't like occur to me
that
it wasn't
interesting. So,
But
my
if you like scroll
experience with this was on the
like
first
right there, the
page.
screech right there,
Yeah, I found the screech.
that one right there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So my experience with this was on page
I thought
1.
that was so well done.
Are you
Mhm.
delayed?
I am delayed a little bit. Yes,
Okay. Should I go now?
we should be good now.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go now.
Okay. So my experience with this lettering wise was that I didn't like the lettering on page 1. Um, because it's got this italicized font that was like a little bit hard to read at first. But as it went
No.
on, it made more sense to me that it was in that font. And then I didn't care as much. So I don't know. It's italicized, which is a little strange. But I think it fits the urgency of the comic, you know, which is kind of like this breakneck speed kind of thing. So I don't know. Did you pick up on that at all, or am I just kind of being too critical?
No, like, when I see it, I do. I think the lettering got better as time went on. I agree with that. Also, you got to be able to read it more as well too, so that kind of makes a difference as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I got used to reading it. Maybe that was it. I mean, there's so much happening on this first page, and there's no color. It's all black and white. So it's like lots of letters. It's all black and white. Maybe it was just kind of hard to like for my eye to follow really easily, especially on a screen, you know, where everything is like high contrast and you're looking at a bright screen all day. So anyway, like, yeah, that was just something I thought about. But again, it like you said, the sound effects are great, and it did not bother me further on into the comic at all. So, and there's just as much lettering later on too. So, it yeah, that was just my initial take. But then later on, I thought it was fine. Even the first page was fine. So, I don't want to come off as critical because the lettering is good in this book too. Everything about this book.
The lettering is very good.
Yeah, what's your je ne sais quoi?
That's a French term.
It is. It is.
Yeah, je ne sais quoi is a French term. I think that kept me going is I wanted to know where this world was going. We kind of talked about earlier that it had the J.J. Abrams feel of a mystery box that like we don't know what these things are, where they're coming from, why they're here, and where the story's going. I mean that all in a very good way, but
yeah,
it kind of like, as you said, it's written by a noir, and when you think noir, you think mystery, and there's a lot of action to this, but there's also a lot of mystery to it too.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I guess for me it was.
What was your je ne sais quoi? I never asked.
I guess for me it was the alien invasion part of it. Actually, it was the art. Honestly, the art was really good.
Art was like, I thought the story was like good. It wasn't anything super unique, but I thought that I thought the art was fantastic, or the art was probably the best part.
Maybe the storytelling, because I think there's like a couple panels here on that Screech page. Actually, he's in the car. He's like, the woman has like something in her eye, and then on top of the panel, there's like a little like it almost looks like a picture, like a Polaroid picture of like this tiny parasite that is like meant to be in her eye. And then you see like, you know, like there's several more insert panels on this page too that like just show those like super extreme close-ups of the alien kind of getting in her eye. So you know, like I think the storytelling was really well done. It's like the panels are also dynamic. We didn't mention that, but there's a lot of dynamic panels, things overlapping, continuing the reader's eye onto the next frame. So yeah, man, I hope this guy makes more books because, yeah, this was fun to read.
No, I hope it happens more too. Or have you write some more stuff because I thought it was really, really good as well. Um, we'll see from what the future holds.
You know, it was interesting when Jorge was saying that the last 2 pages were like somebody convinced him to make those, and they're like done in a different style, and they are done in a different style. They look like
Yeah.
graphic design pages, you know, which is really interesting. But also it served as like a good epilogue because it really felt like there was like sort of this tag at the end of the story, like maybe the world moved on a little bit. So yeah, that was kind of my je ne sais quoi. Eric has left the Zoom. Sorry. It's weird that my eyes show up on both of these panels, I think. I don't know if anyone's still watching, but just waiting for Eric to come back on. Nobody's still watching. I'm good. Well, maybe I'll play a little chess. What do you think? Oh, yeah. Got it. Any word from Eric? Oh, he's restarting his computer. Okay. I'll play some more chess. Okay. I'm just going to keep playing these Italian games. What is that? What is that thing? You're not defending that. I'll play a d3. Oh, I'm not playing d3 now. This is funny. I'll just go back. Dude, what is this? Oh, he's a 793. Probably doesn't even know. Okay. I mean, I have to get this out. Oh, hey, Eric.
Still running slow, but we'll finish this up. I think you got something.
What? What'd I get?
Mike, I think you got. I don't know. I was 2 moves behind, so I don't even know what you got anymore.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, I just lost my knight. When I get distracted, I play really bad chess, honestly.
That's how most people. That's how most people are.
See, I didn't blunder my queen at least. Well, I don't know what this pawn structure is. It's just bad.
Well, I don't know.
I'm gonna take because if he takes, I shouldn't take. I'm not gonna take back, but
don't take because you just lose your knight if you do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep him from castling at least. Should I just move now?
I don't know.
I'll come here. Maybe he'll trade.
He'll lose to the pawn. He won't trade.
Oh shit, he's up a piece. I forgot.
Yeah.
So, hi Ashley.
Shouldn't you be asleep, Ashley?
She's just going to the bathroom.
Mm.
He was trying to trap my bishop, but that bish ain't getting trapped. Bish. Where's he going with this?
He's probably going to try to steal your pawn.
He's not doing shit. He's not doing anything. Nice try.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take that yet. What
Did you guys trade queens?
Do I have anything? Yeah, he traded queens like right away. Well, I was gonna bring my rook there anyway, so
yeah,
might as well attack.
And then the big deal too is if he moves when he moves his knight, you can take his pawn.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. Where's he gonna go with that? Should I trade?
No, aren't you down a piece?
Yeah, I am, but like he's threatening my bishop anyway.
You might as well, yeah, you can trade them.
Oh god,
that was a mistake.
That was a mouse slip. Well, now I'm mad.
Yep.
Now I'm mad.
At this point, yeah, I don't know what you like. That was obviously not what you meant to do. I think he must realize that too.
It was a mouse slip. They don't care. They don't care. They just play you anyway.
No, I mean they're like he doesn't care. He loves it. He loves you can take advantage of that. But
yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. There's really nothing I can do at this point. I'm just down too much material.
That is true. I agree with that.
What I like to do is just see if they know what to do. If he was smart, he'd probably just like sack some stuff to open up my position. But they're usually not that smart. Like if I can play kind of quick, I might have a chance here.
Okay. Let me know when you want to finish the thing, or you just want to finish the game.
No, I'm ready to finish the podcast. I'd rather finish the
Okay.
podcast. I mean, it's only like 50 seconds here. No, see, checkmate.
Checkmate.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, yeah, no, I was just playing while you were gone.
I assume as much. I don't know why, but my computer just super slowed down, super crashed hard all of a sudden.
Oh, okay.
But hopefully things will be better now. All right. I don't know. We finished up with the Je ne sais quoi thing.
Yeah, I did. So we can just start at the cool. So anyway, check out Jorge's comic. It's
Oh no, we haven't rated Henry.
Oh,
Keegan,
yeah.
Keegan, sorry. What the fuck am I doing?
Why do you keep
So,
calling me
Keegan,
Henry?
I don't know. I'm tired.
Why don't you start over? Start over. So start from the rating.
Cool. You're also not recording right now too, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, you are? Cool. So, Keegan, on a scale of having your own katana that could cut anything no matter what.
Are you on the mic? I'm sorry.
Have a scale from having a katana that could cut anything, everyone just one slash. So if you wanted to cut your ties with a toxic friend or anything like that, to having your wall constantly broken and you just can't do anything about it. Like you're like, I'm gonna fix this wall, and it just gets broken. How would you rate this?
I think this comic is like having a nice broadsword that can cut through anything. It's really kind of heavy, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of heavy.
It's pretty heavy.
It's kind of heavy,
but it
and
does does the job really well. Like it's an excellent sword.
Very well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I wish it wasn't as heavy.
Exactly.
I wish it was like more like a katana sword.
Okay. I get you.
So for you,
Right.
if you on a scale between being inside of a wall at anyone's house and having the ability to pop out and scare them to death, any of your enemies, any like heroes of the world, any like saints, sinners, anyone, famous, poor,
Okay.
two, like at any time,
This is the good part.
as many people as you want.
This is the good thing.
Yeah, this is the
Anytime.
good thing. Yeah.
As many people as
Yeah, as
Good
many
thing.
people.
Okay.
Yeah, just scary, and they'll literally
Okay.
die too. They'll die. You'll be.
Okay.
There's a comic right there.
So I'm a murderer. Yeah.
But like in a happy way.
Surprise!
It's sort of like if you could go. Okay, all right. I mean that's a little dark. Maybe for the good people, maybe give.
I can like give. If they're a good person, I can be like, surprise! Here's a cup of coffee. Surprise! Here's some flowers.
Yeah,
Surprise! Here's a chocolate.
Yeah, you're like a genie in a wall, right? Okay.
Okay, and what's a genie though? Okay, and what's the worst thing?
And the worst thing is like having to fall out of your window every day on your way to work. So falling from the 17th floor to the pavement every day in order to get to work.
Am I dead? Am I like, oh god, I'm dead?
No. Every day you're.
Or are
you're
you just like wake up and wake? I just get up and like
Yeah, you're very badly injured, but you can still make it to work. And then every night you heal.
Okay. I would say this is like freaking people, like annoying people a lot by being able to surprise them whenever, like just by freaking out. So like it's a good thing, but you still kind of get annoyed a little bit by certain things. They're like surprise, like not good, just kind of annoying.
Okay. But that's solid still. That's like on the good side. That's definitely still a good skill.
It's on the good side, yeah. It's definitely on the good side. It's definitely on the good side.
Yeah, you're just like a little too needy as a superhero. You're like, I'm here to help you.
Yeah. You're like, I'm powered by my constant validation.
Yeah.
I need the applause in the words of Lady Gaga.
Yeah. But thanks again, Jorge, for coming on the show. It was a great comic.
Thanks, Jorge. Thanks, John, for being on here.
Thanks, John, for coming on. Yep. Find his comics. It's Part-Time Comics with an X. Eric, where can they find us?
They can find us on Twitter, dumbcomiccreators.com, Instagram, dumbcomiccreators.com, facebook.com/dumbcomiccreators. We have our website, dumbcomiccreators.com. Find us on our Patreon page, patreon.com/dumbcomiccreators. We have we can find us on wherever podcasts are loaded. We have our own YouTube, youtube.com/dumbcomiccreators. You can find us on the Twitter, Dumb Creators, I believe.
Dumb Creators, yeah, but I don't
No,
post.
what's our Twitter account?
That is it. That's just my Twitter that I've converted into our Twitter.
I meant not Twitter. That's our Twitter. What's our Twitch then? Dumb Comic Creators?
Twitch is Dumb Comic Creators. Yeah, please subscribe to our Twitch channel. You can watch our podcast recordings.
Twitch. You can ask questions.
9 p.m. on Fridays.
You can watch how we do this behind the scenes. Okay. Keegan, do you know what we do need?
A catchphrase?
We need a catchphrase.
Yeah, I had one though. We continue to podcast.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I think
we don't continue to podcast. I quit. I'm done. I'm out.
Oh, you're done? Okay.
I'm done. It was a good run. I just don't continue to podcast if that's our
We have a guest book for next week.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm back in, but the catchphrase isn't.
Okay, fine. That works. Works. As long as you have a guest booked, I don't think your show can end.
It's true. Or else you're just an ass.
Yeah.
All right.
Look at Jay Leno. That's why he was on so long. Anyway.
Yeah. He's like, I got a guest tomorrow. Crap, can't quit.
Can't quit now.
Can't quit now.
Eric, this has been fun. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, we're no longer recording. I don't have to be like an idiot.
Oh, we're still streaming, though. You should still remain an idiot. Just kidding. Bye, Twitch. Thanks for watching.
Bye, Twitch.
Thanks, John, if you're still watching.
It was good talking to you. I'm not going to stay on too long because my internet connection, for whatever reason, sucks, and I just don't want to deal with it.
I don't know.
I don't know why. It just all of a sudden just like crapped out. I mean, now it's fine, but